Just enjoying my fresh cup of Prince Nana coffee. Available online everywhere. PrinceNanaCoffee.com. But, anyway, if you're watching this, you already know Prince Nana Coffee is good. And, makes you want to do a little dance. But, don't take my word for it. I have a review from a former employee, so he's really not, being paid to say this. The coffee is really just that good. So Dick Hunter Boucher has this to say. Picture this. You're sipping coffee in a glimmering robe, surrounded by golden unicorns, and your mug whispers motivational quotes. Ooh, yeah, the cream rises to the top. Then you take a sip. Whose house? Oh, this is indeed your house. Boldness, like a wrestler's entrance theme. This coffee kicks down the door and shouts, I'm here, and I'm going to stomp a mud hole through your brain. Notes. Hints of unicorn tears, stardust, and a dash of I just pinned my opponent victory. Aftertaste? Imagine high-fiving a rainbow. That's it. Conclusion. Prince Nana's coffee isn't just a beverage. It's a business. And they just went into business for themselves. Strut like a champion and remember, life's too short for weak-ass coffee. Disclaimer. No unicorns were harmed in the making of this review. That's all you have to say. Dick Hunter. Loves your coffee, Nana. Everybody else? You'll love it too. Welcome to another special sit-down episode from the Mole and Friends Get Random podcast channel. It's been a long time since I've talked to my favorite people in the world. They've been very busy. Mr. Eric and Mrs. Julia Lewald, you guys would know them better from, a little show called X-Men the Animated Series. They were little writers and producers and whatnot. They're also executive consultants on the new Disney Plus series, X-Men 97. Guys, last time I had you on, we kind of talked about it because you guys couldn't talk about it, but you knew something was going to happen. So fill me in, man. What has been going on? I've heard nothing but positive things about this new show. I've watched the first couple episodes. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the rest that have on lately. I'm slowly getting there. But so tell me, how is the experience on this new show going?
Well, it's could have gone all sorts of ways. When you redo a show that was a beloved show, you kind of hold your breath, you cross your fingers and hold your breath, because most of them don't work out very well.
Right.
And
Just the track record of
yeah, of
Hollywood.
Hollywood, they just, the people either didn't like the original, or times have changed, or whatever reason, it comes out and it just doesn't feel right. Man, this one really seemed to, especially within the X-Men community, just hit a home run. I mean, it just really got it right, and got people excited, and got people thrilled, and got people waiting. Oh my God, I got to wait till the next week now to see. Tell me what's going to happen. Tell me what's going to. So it worked, and all credit to the 100 or some young folks that put this thing together, with showrunner Bo DeMeo at the very top. It was his baby, it was his vision. He willed it to be as good as it was. And he told us his first rule for hiring his staff was, did you love the old series? And if they said no, or they were equivocal, he didn't hire them. So that was the deal. So there were 100 true believers behind this thing, and I think it really shows.
From the first 2 episodes that I've gotten to see, I am very excited to watch the rest. To tell you the truth, it brought me back to when I was a kid. Honestly, when the original was out, and I was like, I'm so excited for what's going to happen next week. Like, I'm not a big fan of the binge loading of episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
I prefer to be on my edge waiting for the next week. It gets me excited. It gets me, like motivated to actually watch the whole show, like when it's out. And I tell you, man, the first 2 episodes got me hooked. They got me hooked. I just really haven't had a chance to just sit down and watch the next couple. I'm just so excited. Like, how do you guys like? What do you guys think of this as compared to the original?
Well, I'm going to jump in here and just play off the binge versus
Right.
weekly release moment,
Right.
because I've said it before in these last 10 weeks, within the last 10 weeks in the year 2024, we have been the only people in the whole wide world, in the history of humanity, before us and now and after us, who had the opportunity to experience X-Men 97 on a weekly release,
Right.
which is how the good old X-Men animated series was released a few decades ago on Fox Kids. And I love that 1 week release for these episodes this season really gave fans an opportunity to be stunned, be startled, be surprised, to spend the rest of the week, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? The trick is, if you didn't watch all 10 episodes, then you had to avoid a lot of spoilers, because people were losing their minds on social media.
I've purposely stayed off of the Twitter box and the Facebook machine, just so I don't have any spoilers, because it is so hard. Everybody, you're right, is talking about this show.
Yes.
And they're very positive. There's like, I've heard like people say that it's bringing them back to their childhood again, and like they're like they haven't been this excited about a Marvel show or movie, like, period, in the MCU in a long time. And this show is really hitting a home run for these people, and I really enjoy the fact that they kept it as close to your guys' original. You know what I mean? Like that. It's super close to the way I remembered feeling when I watched it. So, God damn, I'm just so flabbergasted about it, because I was like, I feel like a kid again, like actually watching this, catching up on this. Now I've done a little bit of looking into it, but how much of the original cast is actually coming back? I know Allison Court came back. I know a couple other.
Yeah, she has a different character there. I think there are 3 or 4 that came back as their characters. Allison Seeley Smith, Cal Dodd as Wolverine.
Allison Seeley Smith back as Storm.
Cal Dodd as Wolverine.
Lenore Zan
as
Rogue.
And
oh God, we're missing. But everybody that we are aware of who was in the original voice cast has reappeared in some capacity, which is pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable.
Yeah, you don't get that a lot.
And it's been 30 years. People's voices changed.
Right.
And so they wanted to get as many as they could, and they voice tested them and used pretty much everybody they could, even if they said, well, we have a slightly different vision of what that particular character's voice might be.
Right.
And we're going to be casting someone young to take this role. They would take the previous actor or actress and give them a major supporting role. And
Okay.
so they brought the old family in as much as they could. There've been two or
Yeah.
three of our folks that have passed.
Right.
You know,
Right.
For example, one quick story.
Norm Spencer, for example.
Norm Spencer was the voice of Cyclops for us, also the voice of previously on X-Men.
Right. Right. Okay.
Sadly, he passed, but they brought back voice actor Ray Chase. And there's a beautiful moment in one of the first few episodes where Val Cooper, who is voiced now by Catherine Disher, who was our original Jean Grey, she's now back as Val Cooper. There's a moment where, as Dr. Cooper, she turns to Cyclops and says, you know, Professor Xavier would be so proud of you. And Ray Chase himself said he was choking up because that's Catherine Disher talking to him in the role of, it was very meta. It was very
Yeah,
many
that's-
layers folding on top of
Yeah,
itself.
and just think how hard it was for these people building this world and making the creative decisions. They had 30 more years of books to integrate into this or to think about as possible
Right.
research bits for this. And they had a couple generations of life thrown at them in between 1992 and now,
Right.
when we did our show, and they had their own perspectives, and yet everyone is telling us, look, it feels seamless. I can watch 76 episodes of your original show. I can then turn on the first of this, and it feels like it's the next episode. It feels like it's an extension, which is given the different technologies, given the different
Right.
budget. I mean,
Right.
we are so envious. They had four times the time and like 8 times the budget of what we had to do our first season.
Right.
And it's beautiful and it's stunning, and it's theatrical level, beautiful animation. At the same time, they took all these pains to make us feel comfortable, like that's the same Scott moving through this, that's the same Wolverine moving through the screen. And that took great effort. It couldn't have been good the first 2 or 3 passes. They had to really work at that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of glad they waited a while though to put it out. Tell you the truth, and now they made sure it was that good. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, Julie.
Okay, no, I don't know if I can make this work or not here, but if you can see this,
This is
Oh yeah, I can see it just fine.
All right,
her
my
favorite
favorite
story.
Easter egg. So this Easter egg, the upper one, that's the opening title sequence. And it's Gambit throwing his cards to the camera. And we were discovered 30 years later that the pip for the Ace of Spades was drawn upside down.
Right. Right.
Here we are, we're sharing that story with the folks doing X-Men 97. And in X-Men 97, they drew the pip for the Ace of Spades upside down.
That is
The opening,
awesome.
on purpose.
That
So
is so awesome. That is so
that-
cool.
It's that kind of fidelity.
It took
that
us
kind of-
28 years to find that. Larry drew that in 1992, and it wasn't until 2020 that we were writing our art book.
Yeah.
And we look at a printout of it and say, wait a minute, that spade doesn't look right.
And then he checked, and it's like he was going wasn't it over the course of one?
Yeah,
he had to hand draw the opening title.
He had to create and draw the opening title over a weekend.
Mhm.
He and Will looked at it with Margaret Lash. They said, okay, we've got these adjustments we need to make. We spent about another day on it. So the opening title that you see in our original show, which people love as their favorite ever, is 3 days of frenzied work by our 2 best artists, Larry and Will.
That's a lot of work.
I'm trying to go back.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say I've tried to draw, a little short, 5-second animation. I can imagine what a 30-second intro.
Yeah, it's a full minute. Yeah.
And Margaret Lash, the president of Fox Kids then, who was the person responsible for saying we're making an X-Men series. Part of her marching orders were, even though X-Men was the biggest selling comic book at that time in 1992, that was still a very small slice of pop culture back then. And there was no social media, there was no Google, there was no internet. And she said, you, Eric, on the writing side, and Will and Larry on just the introduction side, you got to set up who the X-Men are, what they are, what's mutation, who are they fighting, what are their names, what are their powers.
You have a huge cast.
And do it in the opening title sequence.
Yeah, because 85% of the people tuning in to our new show aren't going to know what the heck a mutant is and what the X-Men world is.
Right.
So you have to be careful and simple and patient and clear and have a great intro. That's one of the notes she gave on the first pass at the intro. We need more on the lead characters and identifying who they are and showing their powers, and less of the background action. Background action can wait for the show. Let's focus on the characters. And that was a great note, and I think it made the opening, great.
Yeah, no, the opening is seriously the best opening in animation, like, period. I think. I was a big fan of all the other, the Marvel, like Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, and all them, and I liked the fact that like they got everybody that you knew who was who, and like you basically got their personality like from that opening sequence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
Yeah.
that you can't get any better than that, honestly.
Yeah.
What do you think of the progression of like the I want to say the storylines, like not like how, like, I know they're progressing with the morph, where he's a I guess they come out as gay. I can't remember what they were, or did
He's
they
come out
not?
as he's come out as a teammate, a team member. He's a full
Right.
on. He's got his own card in the opening title
Yeah,
sequence.
yeah, yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
because when we wrote him, we just wrote him to kill him in the first episode.
Right,
Yeah.
That was our plan.
Yeah.
So that's why he's not in the title.
Right.
And now it's just his image. When we drew him, we went to the books and found a shapeshifter named Changeling. And so his model was based on Changeling from the books, who's only in 4 or 5 of the books.
Right.
So very, very minor character. And they said, well, look, let's do something a little more, 21st century with him, more current with him, and make his normal state be a kind of amorphous looking creature.
Okay.
He's kind of white and no hair and, kind of weird eye sockets. And so they've made him, as a shapeshifter, when he was shapeshifting into all sorts of creatures and men and women and all,
right.
Right.
so he was very much a completely fluid character in our episode. It's
Yes.
just when we saw him at rest, he looked like the Changeling, this guy from a 1980 comic.
Right.
But they upgraded him a little bit. I don't think there was kind of a big deal for a few months before the show came out. Just, is this some sort of weird, gender fluid?
That's what I was trying to hint on there. I was trying to get that, because people were like, people are upset about it. Even if he was, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Like,
right, even if he was, but anybody that had any weird worries about that got past that in about 5 minutes,
right?
Because his characters is there, and he gets more screen time, and his fun-loving, quirky, weird, nudging character is blossoms in the show. And so it's just, they get past his look in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not the issue we thought it might be.
And also, we as a human species, we are 30 years ahead of where we were in 1992.
Right.
And it's really easy to forget. I mean, the world's on fire right now, but it's easy to forget how much progress has been made regarding certain issues in our society. There are words God, we couldn't say, or even pretend to say, or skirt around in a Saturday morning kid show back in the 1990s. The fact that X-Men 97 has whatever the PG-14 rating, it has a slightly more mature rating anyway on Disney Plus. They are able to talk about and deal with issues we couldn't imagine dealing with back then.
Yeah, because we're very much a kids show, and that kids television had serious limits on it. So yeah,
I'm kind of glad that I'm glad that the audience for this is now older, because we were all, we all grew up for it. Now we know, we're all adults now. We're watching it with our kids, and I really do like that they're touching on more adult oriented themes. You know what I mean? Like, well, not really more adult, but really like, in general, like, life, like what's going on, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're touching on everything from the sexuality and all that, but all that, I just think it's good that they're leaning now more towards the us that grew up with the original show, and like they know we grew older, and they know, like, the topic should be a little bit more for us, and as well as geared towards the kids, being on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? So the first couple episodes I've seen, they did a very good job blending all that together into a quite frankly, a great continuation of the original. Like the one person said that you brought up, it's you could watch the original episodes and then come and pick up and watch this first, first couple episodes and be like,
Yeah.
all right, it's just a new season. It's that's what I wanted. I really didn't want them to go askew and try to do, something totally different and then lose that original audience base, who grew up with the original show.
By the way, since you haven't had a chance to see the entire
Yes,
10
yes.
episode sequence yet, buckle up.
Oh, I'm glad. I really am.
I mean, woo! Either have your smelling salts or your fainting couch or a
man.
strong beverage or something.
Because I'm so into this. I sat down. I got to watch the first 2 episodes, and then I was like, this is gonna be good. I haven't gotten a chance, and I've been just busy in general life. I haven't gotten a chance, and I didn't want to not be able to focus on it. You know what I mean? Like sit down.
I appreciate that. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sit down with my kids today because my oldest son is an X-Men freak like I am. So
good.
he loves the original, and he was so neat that I have the postcard from you guys last time, that you sent us, and he was like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "You're famous," and I'm like, no, I just know some really cool people. So it's
And you know us.
I do. Oh, to the books. So all right. I didn't want to keep you guys too long because I know you guys have a lot of stuff to do. But overall, you're very happy with this new X-Men 97 product? I'm assuming. Or do you have any reservations going forward with it, or do you want anything to do you see anything that might be looking like it needs to change, or do you guys are you just generally happy with the new series overall?
I think it generally happens. And just so you know, the writing on season 2 is mostly there already. They're really cranking on season 2, and it's a real thing. And we've been involved in that a little. And they've just greenlit season 3. So
that's been announced, and we've been signed on again.
We've been signed on again. So
I'm happy for you guys. I really am.
we're on board for however many years it takes to get those 2 seasons together. I'm sure it'll be quicker than the 3 years they've spent on the first season. It speeds up because so much stuff is set now. But hell, if it goes for 8 seasons, we're on, man. We're on board.
That is awesome. I did have one question I was going to ask you before. Now I remember in the original series, Morph and Wolverine had a really good relationship before he died. They were. Are they going to pick that up? Did they are they going to kind of revisit that whole thing?
We'll let you watch the rest.
Let me watch what's on there. Good call.
We'll let you watch the rest of the season.
That works
what
for
we're
me.
Going to say.
That works for me.
Yeah. But again, the fact that everything that you laid out, that as a writer wrote for X-Men the Animated Series, the folks who are doing X-Men 97, they know that stuff deep, backwards, forward, sideways, and they're pulling out resources. I mean, they're pulling on threads. It's like, oh my God! Wait, was that in episode XYZ? Was that a character standing behind that character 30 years ago?
Yeah, they know our show. They know our show better than we do, and awesome. It just becomes a question. They're not looking to change it. They're not looking to adjust the relationships or anything. They're just they're naturally, as creators, they may get excited and say in a season, give a run, spend more time with Cyclops, or spend more time with Rogue, or spend more time with somebody that we adjusted as the seasons went. Some of the seasons seemed to be kind of Wolverine heavy, and then there was the time when we had the 2 Phoenix sagas kind of back to back for 9 episodes.
Right.
So that was real Jean heavy and Jean and Scott heavy. So those kind of decisions about there's such a huge group of characters, it's such a big, rich world that as their creative interests shift left, right, center, you'll see more of one character, less than another. We even found ourselves when we were doing our show, I'm like, man, we haven't really focused on Jubilee for 4 or 5 episodes. What are we doing? You try to keep a balance, and you get enthusiasms that take you one way or another, and then you have to catch yourself and say, oh, let's get back and let's get back to characters we maybe haven't touched on as much as we need to. So however that goes for them, their intention is to just exploit this wonderful world that they were handed, not to get rid of half of it or to throw 6 or 7 new characters in that nobody cares about from our show and diminish the ones that are in our show. They're very much behind, keeping it what it is.
I also want to, a big difference was 32 years ago. X-Men the Animated Series was kind of crafted in individual season chunks. You were tapped to do one season because the higher ups at Fox didn't think it would last. So those first 13 were crafted kind of a piece and then sent out into the universe to see how the world responded. Well, it was a hit, but it wasn't a hit that you were drafted to do 4 more seasons. You were drafted to do a second season.
Yeah.
So the second season is
kind of
Savage Land,
a little bit self-contained. Yeah.
Finally, after that, you were then tapped to do season.
They finally decided, okay, this is such a big hit. We made so much money. We'll commit to another 39 episodes. And that's when we kind of got to blow it wide open and do things like the Phoenix sagas and go up into space and
do the One Man's Worth stories.
Meet lots of new characters that we didn't really have time or space for in the first 2 seasons.
But so I say that because good old X-Men 97, there seemed to be a lot of eyes staring ahead in the same direction. And this season 1, yes, it's we got dogs. These 10 episodes they're complete, but I think they themselves are looking ahead to a season 2 and a season 3, at least as far as we know today.
Well, I'm so happy for you guys. Like 100%, I'm ecstatic. I cannot wait to see where this goes. I'm actually going to sit down tonight and watch at least 2 episodes. So, I again, thank you guys so much for coming on and talking to me, catching up. I love having you on. Please come back some more. I will ask you.
We'd be happy to. And again, thank you.
Can you imagine how weird this is? It's just 32 years after we started this job. It's back and it's the center of everybody's conversations again.
That's what I'm saying.
And talking to you before, it was like, well, we can't, but and now it's out. It's out.
It has to be such a relief for you guys to be able to talk about this stuff, right?
But we still have to watch what we're saying.
Oh, I know. That's why I wasn't trying to ask, probe too far.
We got you. All right.
But thank you guys so much. I thank you again. I will get a hold of you whenever you're not so busy and come back. I really want you guys on. I know you're all over the place, Comic-Cons. Do you have anything in the future real quick that you need to promote that you're going to be at?
We just came off of the Ontario, California Comic event, which was wonderful. They had so many of the voice talent from 97 and the original.
The voice talent there. Yeah, we had a really good panel. The 2 big things that we have set for later in the year. Besides that, we're trying to keep things kind of open. One of them is the LA Comic-Con is in early October this year.
Los Angeles Comic-Con.
It's usually in early December, so that's an earlier thing. And in September, there's a wonderful thing called the Uncanny Experience in Minneapolis, where they take over an old gentleman's club, a 7-story old gentleman's club, and turn it into the X Mansion.
And this will be their second year there. It's remarkable.
And basically everybody there is a crazy X-Men fan, and most of them in cosplay. And awesome. It's a fun thing.
So we'll be at both of those, and maybe at things in between. We're not sure. We have some delightful family stuff in the background too. So this has been a great year.
Family stuff is always good, and glad you guys are keeping busy. I will talk to you again. Everybody, please watch X-Men 97 and on social media, get it to Eric and Julia. I'm sure they would love to answer your questions. Anything you have. And I know that you guys are very, very excited about the show, and I'm glad everybody else is very excited about the show. I'm very excited about the show. So once again, watch X-Men 97 and watch the old X-Men animated series while you're at it, because everybody loves that show. So, all right, everybody, have a great night. Thank you guys again, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.